facing the devotee. This devotee, he has by his own prowess become the emperor of the world, such a great achievement, but he considers that is not so important because such wealth and power is temporary. Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, Ma upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam na bhuvanti mahatmanah. Those who are devotees, they aim to attain Krishna's abode, Krishna's kingdom. And they know that this material existence, whatever one may have, whatever opulence one may have, is temporary. And also material existence is filled with different kinds of miseries. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So Maharaj Ambarisha is a Mahatma, is a devotee. So therefore he knew very well, this opulence that I have got in terms of this kingdom is temporary. So he did not mistakenly think that I can enjoy this wealth. No. Indeed, knowing that such opulence, material opulence, is the cause of downfall into conditional life. Downfall into conditional life. We are all conditioned. Condition means we are forced by the three gunas, material nature, to actually act in so many ways for our sense satisfaction. This is the
remove mic.
conditional life means we are forced to act simply for satisfying our desires. And liberated life means we understand that material desires are simply the cause of material bondage. Therefore, such devotees or such enlightened persons, they are very careful not simply to spend their time in material enjoyment or material activities. So therefore it is described here, knowing that material opulence is the cause of downfall into conditional life, he was unattached to his opulence. So much opulence he had, but he was not attached. He engaged his senses and mind in the service of the Lord. Instead of utilizing the opulence for enjoying his senses, satisfying the desires in his mind, he engaged his senses and mind in devotional service. This process is called Yukta Vairagya or feasible renunciation. Renunciation, people understand, leave everything and go away. But Ambarish Maharaj did not leave everything and go away. He was very much involved in ruling over the entire world. So he had to deal with money, he had to deal with people, family, ministers, treasury, horses, elephants, palace, everything he has to deal with. But the method of dealing with all this at the same time being detached is described here as Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means Of course, Srila Prabhupada explains this as feasible renunciation. This is something that is feasible, that's possible, that is practical for even an emperor of the world to practice renunciation without giving up. Because the devotees understand whatever I may have, actually everything belongs to Krishna. So recognizing everything as belonging to Krishna, at the same time utilizing that, whatever I have in my possession, I'll utilize it for Krishna's service. This is called Yukta Vairagya. On the one side, recognize whatever you have as belonging to Krishna. And then what should you do? Understanding that it belongs to Krishna and not to you. You should use it in Krishna's service. So engaging whatever you have in Krishna's service is real renunciation. So in the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada explains, there are three categories of persons who deal differently with whatever wealth they may have. One category of persons are called karmis. They try to enjoy whatever wealth they have, thinking that I have got it by rightful means, so I am entitled to enjoy. I have a right to enjoy. So they try to enjoy whatever wealth they have. They have acquired by a fair, not by cheating. Then the jnanis, the second category of persons, they know that any material wealth, when somebody uses for their own enjoyment, it's a cause of material bondage. So they try to renounce all material wealth and possessions. They try to give up and go away to the forest or some holy place or the Himalayas, and there try to perform austerities for self-realization. So jnanis, they give up all their possessions. And the devotees, third category of persons, the bhaktas, the devotees, whatever they have in their possession, they know it doesn't belong to them but actually belongs to Krishna. So they neither try to enjoy what they have in their possession, nor they simply give up and go away to the forest. No. They utilize whatever they have in Krishna's service. And that's exactly what Ambarish Maharaj did. So it's described here. This process is called Yukta Vairagya or feasible renunciation, which is quite suitable for worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Especially householders are advised in Bhakti Yoga to engage in worship of the Supreme Lord. So Ambarish Maharaj engaged in worshipping the Supreme Lord. Because Maharaj Ambarish was the emperor, he was immensely opulent, a lot of riches as the emperor. He performed devotional service with great opulence. We read about that. He performed with great opulence. And therefore, despite his wealth, he had no attachment to his wife, to his children, or to his kingdom. What is the result of such Yukta Vairagya? He is not attached at all. He is detached, completely detached. In spite of having so much wealth, having a beautiful wife, having children, nice children, he was not at all attached to any of them. He constantly engaged his senses and mind in the service of the Lord. Earlier it was told he engaged his senses and mind in the devotional service. He had said his policy was to always his senses and mind in the service of the Lord. To say nothing of enjoying material opulence, he never desired even liberation. To that extent, he was enlightened that by doing all this, he did not even want liberation. Once Maharaj Ambarisha was worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan. He had gone to Vrindavan to worship the Supreme Lord Krishna by observing the vow of Dwadashi, the day after Ekadashi, Dwadashi, generally, not always, most of the time. So, on Dwadashi, the day after Ekadashi, when he was about to break his Ekadashi fast, he is performing Ekadashi fast. So he had to break the fast on Dwadashi, all of you know this. The great mystic yogi Durvasa appeared in his house and became his guest. In Sanskrit, the word for guest is Atithi. Atithi means one who comes without giving information, without prior notification, without prior information. Atithi. Tithi means something that is scheduled, something that is fixed. Janmashtami. We say Janmashtami Tithi. Shravan Masa, Krishna Paksha, Ashtami. So, specific day, you know when it is going to come, and you can make all preparations for nicely worshipping the Lord, for glorifying Him, for having the festival, etc. You can plan. But Atithi comes to your house, no information, and you can imagine those days there was no such communication, mobile phone, letters. Before mobile phone came, we had a system of letters, postage system. No postal system, no mobile phone, nothing. So the traveling saintly persons, travelers, they will come without any prior information. So Durvasa Muni, he is a sage, he is a rishi, he is a muni. So he came and Ambarish Maharaja respectfully received Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni, after accepting his invitation to eat there on Dwadashi day, Durvasa Muni has accepted his invitation to eat. Then Durvasa Muni, before eating, he said he will go to bathe in the Yamuna river at noontime because he has come to Vrindavan. Ambarish Maharaj is observing in Vrindavan this Vrata, Dwadashi Vrata. So he went to bathe in the Yamuna river at noontime because he was absorbed in Samadhi. Who? Durvasa Muni. He did not come back very soon. Maharaj Ambarisha, however, upon seeing that the time to break the fast was passing, the Ekadashi Vrata, one has to completely fast even from water. Those who observe strictly. And they have to break the fast at a certain time, specific time, on the Dwadashi day. So now the time for breaking the fast is running out. And to complete the Vrata, Ambarish Maharaj has to break the fast before the end of that fast breaking time. So he is seeing that his guest has not come. So generally when a guest is there, the host will not eat before feeding the guest. This is etiquette. And that too, the guest is not an ordinary guest, it is Durvasa Muni, a powerful mystic yogi, great rishi. So Ambarish Maharaj is waiting, but Durvasa Muni, he did not check the time, Dwadashi, The time for fast breaking is running out. He didn't check all that. He went into samadhi and taking bath in the Yamuna river. And time was running out. What did Ambarish Maharaj do? He drank a little water only. Upon seeing that the time for fast was passing, breaking the fast was passing, he drank a little water in accordance with the advice of learned Brahmanas. Just to observe the formality of breaking the fast. Even that water, just for observing the formality of breaking the fast, he took a little water on the advice of learned Brahmanas, not on his own. By mystic power, Durvasa Muni could understand that this had happened. That my host has taken a little water before even feeding me. This Durvasa Muni could make out by his mystic power. And he was very angry. Durvasa Muni became angry against Ambarish Maharaj. When Durvasa Muni returned, he began to chastise Maharaj Ambarisha. How can you do this? Without feeding your guest, you are breaking the fast. But even after chastising Ambarish Maharaj, Durvasa Muni was not satisfied. Finally, he created from his hair a demon appearing like the fire of death. So angry he had become. Very, very angry. In the scriptures it is said, Durvasa Muni is a partial incarnation of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has got this characteristic. If there is some reason for becoming angry, Shiva will become very angry very quickly. And if somebody tries to please Lord Shiva, very easily, very quickly he becomes pleased. Both these things are there about Shiva. So Durvasa Muni, being a partial incarnation of Shiva, he would become angry very, very easily, very quickly. And when he becomes angry, he will be very, very, very angry. So for this small reason, he became angry against Ambarish Maharaj. He could not be pacified. Ambarish Maharaj is a humble devotee. He will try to pacify, beg forgiveness or whatever. But Durvasa Muni was not satisfied with all that pacification. So what did he do? With his hair, one hair he took out from his matted hair. And he created a demon appearing like the fire of death. He wanted to kill Ambarish Maharaj. You see how much angry he is and how he is punishing Ambarish Maharaj, who is a devotee of the Lord. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, is always the protector of his devotee. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Devotees are never vanquished. If they are fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord, nobody can vanquish a devotee. Nobody can do anything to a devotee. No harm can be done to a devotee by anybody else. So the Supreme Lord, who is the protector, always the protector of the devotee, and to protect Ambarish Maharaj, the Supreme Lord sent his disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, which immediately vanquished the fiery demon. Immediately the fiery demon was killed by Sudarshan Chakra. Immediately. Before the demon could even attempt to attack Ambarish Maharaj, immediately the Sudarshan Chakra is there, sent by the Supreme Lord. Vanquished the fiery demon. Then that Sudarshan Chakra pursued Durvasa, who was envious of Maharaj Ambarish. Started chasing Ambarish. Started chasing Durvasa. Durvasa fled to Brahmaloka, Shivaloka and all the higher planets. But he could not protect himself from the wrath, that means anger of the Sudarshan Chakra. Sudarshan Chakra, the deity of Sudarshana, is there in our Bangalore Vaikuntha temple. Sudarshan Narasimha. Very special deity. That Sudarshana is in his Ugra Rupa, very, very angry mood. So is Narasimha also. So the deity, one side is Sudarshana, other side of the deity is Narasimha. And both are in an angry mood. Angry mood. And that anger is directed towards whom? You know the story of Narasimha. Towards demons who always want to give some trouble to devotees. So that Ugra Rupa of Narasimha or Sudarshana is always directed towards demons or even towards others. Of course, Durvasa Muni is not a demon. He is a saintly person. But he has unnecessarily become angry against Krishna's devotee. So therefore Sudarshana is angry against Durvasa. So this anger of Sudarshana, this Durvasa Muni could not escape. He went to seek protection, higher planets. And he had the mystic power to travel, to run away, to escape. But Sudarshana was chasing him, not leaving him. Whichever place he went in this universe, up to Brahmaloka, topmost planet, nobody could protect him. Finally, he went to the spiritual world and surrendered to Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana. He went to the spiritual world and surrendered to Narayana. He went to Vaikuntha and surrendered to Narayana. But Lord Narayana could not excuse a person who had offended a Vaishnava. Could not means not that Narayana doesn't have power. He is supremely powerful. But he said, I won't excuse you because you have offended my devotee. I will not save you. So then, it is described here, to be excused from such an offense against a Vaishnava, one must submit to the Vaishnava only. Nobody else can do anything. Nobody else can. One has to submit to the Vaishnava whom the offender has offended. That means Durvasa Muni has to submit to Ambarish Maharaj, against whom he was envious, against whom he was trying to show his mystic power. He has to submit, he has to surrender to Ambarish Maharaj. There is no other way to be excused. Even Vishnu won't excuse, Narayana won't excuse. Who else can excuse? Nobody can excuse. Only Ambarish Maharaj can excuse. Thus Lord Narayana advised Durvasa to return to Maharaj Ambarish and beg his pardon. Beg pardon from Ambarish. So that is described in this chapter. Next one. Shri Shuka Vacha Nabhago Nabaga Apatyam Nabhago Nabaga Patyam Nabhago Nabaga Patyam Yam Tatam Dhataraha Kavim Yam Tatam Dhatara Kavim Yavishtham Yabhajan Dayam Yavishtham Yabhajan Dayam Brahmacharinam Agatam Brahmacharinam Agatam Shri Shuka Vacha Nabhago Nabhagapatyam Yankatam Dhrasaram Kabim Yavishtham Yabhajandayam Brahmacharinam Agatam. I'll read the story. Word for me. Shri Shuka Vacha. Sukadeva Goswami said, Nabhaga Nabhaga Apatyam was the son of Maharaj Nabhaga. Yam unto whom? Tatam the father. Bhataraha the elder brothers. Kavin the learned. Yavishtham the youngest. Yabhajan divided. Dayam the property. Brahmacharinam having accepted the life of a brahmachari perpetually or naishtika brahmachari agatam returned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, the son of Nabhaga named Nabhaga lived for a long time at the place of his spiritual master. Therefore his brothers thought that he was not going to become a grihastha and would not return. Consequently, without providing a share for him, they divided the property of their father among themselves. When Nabhaga returned from the place of his spiritual master, they gave him their father as his share. Please repeat this translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, the son of Nabhaga, named Nabhaga, lived for a long time at the place of his spiritual master. This is called Gurukula. The place of the spiritual master when one goes and studies as a brahmachari is called Gurukula. Therefore, his brothers thought that he was not going to become a grihastha and would not return. Consequently, without providing a share for him, they divided the property of their father among themselves. When Nabhaga returned from the place of his spiritual master, they gave him their father as his share. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are two kinds of brahmacharis. One may return home, marry and become a householder, whereas the other, known as Brihadvrata, takes a vow to remain a brahmachari perpetually. The Brihadvrata brahmachari does not return from the place of the spiritual master. He stays there and later he directly takes sannyas. Because Nabhaga did not return from the place of his spiritual master, his brothers thought that he had taken Brihadvrata brahmacharya. Therefore, they did not preserve his share, and when he returned, they gave him their father as his share. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna-preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. On the request of Maharaj Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami is describing the descendants of the Vaivasvata Manu. He had 10 sons. So one of the sons, Nabhaga, his descendants are being described. So Nabhaga had a son, Nabhaga. Nabhaga went to Gurukula to get educated, but he did not return in time. The other brothers, thinking that he had taken Brihad Vrata. He had taken a Vrata to remain a Brahmachari whole life. So Prabhupada says in the purport, there are two kinds of Brahmacharis. One kind of Brahmachari, he undergoes the training for a limited duration of time, say about 25 years. And then he returns home, gets married, becomes a householder, grihastha. Whereas the other brahmachari, who's called Naishtika brahmachari, he decides never to get married. And he remains in the ashram of the guru and practices spiritual life in order to prepare himself for directly accepting sannyas without going through the ashrams of Grihastha and Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is required if somebody after brahmacharya accepts Grihastha ashrama now to prepare for sannyas. Whereas a brahmachari who does not get married, does not enter Grihastha ashrama, he doesn't exactly accept Vanaprastha ashrama to prepare for sannyas. As a brahmachari itself, he practices the brahmacharya vrata so as to become completely renounced and then accepts sannyas. So the brothers of Nabhaga, they thought that why has he not returned after some limited duration of time that he is expected to return home? Not return. Maybe he has taken the vow of Naishtika Brahmacharya, Brihad Vrata. So they thought that he will take sannyas, so he will not be interested in any share of the property of the father. So they divided among themselves without keeping any share for him. But when he actually returned, what did they do? They gave their father as his share. This is what happened. So we'll read in the next few verses what later happened. Stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada.